We're now at a point where we've given Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers multiple listens, really gotten a good feeling for the project. So we thought it was fitting to do a tier list on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers and really go through each and every single song. So let's get right into it, starting off with United in Grief. Where does it rank for you and why?
Well, listen, I love this song. I love all of the different, beat switches as well. I love how, he starts off with this super energetic flow that keeps you locked in. The piano keys at the beginning of the track. It's really a perfect intro to, start off this album. But I don't know, where are you placing this?
You know what's cool about the piano keys you were talking about is that I love how the break in his flow is dictated by that piano key. It's fucking brilliant. Also,
I didn't catch on that.
Yeah. Also, Sam Du's vocals at the beginning, they're very full, and it feels like you're hearing a choir singing at that start of the song, and it also feels like you're entering a church and like Kendrick Lamar is about to go into this confession booth because the album ends up being very confessional. And also, like you were saying, the multiple flow switches, very abstract, and I think that as an MC, it's my favorite performance from him on the album. I think it's an amazing intro.
You think it's an amazing intro?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
It's his best MC performance on there.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, though, is that you wouldn't put it in perfect straight off the bat?
Straight off the bat and perfect?
But, I mean, listen, it's one of the strongest tracks on the whole album for me.
Oh, man.
Okay, listen, we'll go amazing.
I think it's amazing.
We'll do amazing. How about N95, okay? So this is probably going to be one of the biggest songs off the album.
This is the banger of the album, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The music video just dropped, and what's crazy is that those photos that surfaced that, we were covering back then in the rollout ended up being for this song, so that's pretty cool. But how do you feel about it? So there was some different flows and switches that were, experimented with this song. Boy Wonder produced. So how do you feel about it?
When I first heard it, I'm like, wait, is this Kendrick Lamar rapping over a drill beat? Because you did have that drill presence throughout the track in the production. So I think that was pretty cool. Apart from that, I love the ad-libs from Kendrick when he's kind of doing the shoot, like that kind of high pitch ad-lib was really cool. And I just love all the hype and energy that he brings out of it. And I think there's even the part in Vent, the original version of Vent that was left off of the Melodic Blue that made an appearance on here, just a section of it. So I love the lullaby type of flow that he went for. And yeah, it was just probably maybe the highest in energy out of the entire track list. I would go with maybe Great.
I would go with Great for N95. Yeah, definitely Great. How about Worldwide Steppers? This is one of the most impressive songs in the whole album for me, especially as far as production goes. This new flow that Kendrick's experimenting with, where it's super monotone to the point where he sounds like a robot and he's just glitching out, and everything's
off kilter, right?
Yeah, it's crazy the way that he's able to deliver that, and it was one of the biggest standouts for me, especially going into the first half of the album. I was like, okay, I know what time Kendrick's on right now. So Worldwide Steppers, bro. I would put this at the perfect rating.
I don't think it's a perfect song, because by the way, we did our Kendrick Lamar songs tier list, and you guys can check it out if you haven't already. But we have songs like How Much a Dollar Cost making that perfect level. We have songs like Matt City there. Like, is this really one of Kendrick's best ever songs?
I'm more talking about into the context.
In the context of the album, I don't know if it's like one of the best off the album, but it did leave me kind of jarred. Like, I was super confused in terms of even just the lyrics. It was kind of hit you out of nowhere, and you're asking yourself, is this reality, or is Kendrick kind of coming from a more of an imaginative state of mind? So I don't know. It was off kilter. I love the beat switch also to that rhythmic guitar section, but is it a flawless song?
What are you going with?
I'd say amazing.
You go amazing. Okay, Worldwide
you
Steppers.
Could budge on this one? Okay.
Yeah, I'll go Worldwide Steppers amazing. How about Die Hard? Where are you going with this? I think this was a good song. I'm going good on
just
Die Hard.
Good?
I'm going good on Die Hard.
No, this is a great song, bro. And I think that this is one of those songs that's similar to a lot of the songs in Good Kid, Mad City, where it's super accessible but also meaningful, as it serves as this apology song to Whitney. And the vocals from Blast and Amanda Reifer were amazing. And to me, this is a summer smash. I could see myself playing this for this entire season. What do you have an issue with this song?
I don't have an issue with the song itself. I'm a fan of the song, and I really do enjoy it. It's not a skip for me. I've been bumping it in the car. I'm just saying, in the context of the album, I feel as if this is maybe more with places within the midsection of the album, if you get what I'm trying to say. If I had to do a track list ranking, I don't think it's one of the strongest off of it. That's more of where I'm at with it.
I think even just in terms of his harmonizing and as a melodic performance, is one of his best. So I would personally go amazing. You would go good. So do you want to meet in the middle with great?
You said amazing or great?
Amazing, honestly. You want to meet in the middle with great?
Yeah, we could go in the middle with great. Okay, how about Father Time? This is perfect. Okay, can we go perfect for Father Time? Do you think
Bro,
we're allowed here?
Yeah, we have to give it perfect. And Sampha needs his flowers, bro. If you're looking at what he contributes to so many hip hop albums, looking at a song like Too Much off Nothing Was the Same, Saint Pablo off of The Life of Pablo, he just has these glorious choruses, and his performance is amazing here. I also love what Kendrick does, kind of flipping the script and talking about daddy issues, but from the perspective of a male. I thought that was super refreshing. And yeah, it's a flawless song to me. I think it's my favorite song off the album.
It's your favorite song off the album?
What about you?
I'd put it in my top 3, but I really do enjoy the production on this song. Like, I think it's one of the best produced songs on the whole album. I love what Sampha was able to offer you on this, because what he does with the hook is like it's a refreshing break from Kendrick's really distressed verses, and more of an uplifting energy to the way that Sampha attacks those hooks. So I think it was really nice in contrast. So Father Time, we'll put it into the perfect category, but let's go rich interlude, all right? So how did you like this? Did you think it's one of the best interludes on the album?
I mean, he's rhyming relatively well here, and I never really thought I would get Kodak Black doing some spoken word poetry, but I enjoyed it. I mean, he's kind of taking you through the struggles that he faced on his journey to success. It was refreshing. I enjoyed it. Do I think that it was 100% necessary to the track list? Not entirely. I would go good on this.
You would go good with it?
What about you?
Okay, I'll meet you there. I'll go rich interlude. I'll go good on it. But I do love what Kodak was able to provide, because especially within the context of the first half of the album, it gives you that emotional distress, not from Kendrick himself, but from a different character within the album. So I think, yes, it was needed at least to go into Rich Spirit. Now, so where do you place Rich Spirit? Is it on that same level for you?
Rich Spirit. Yeah, this is the weakest off of the track list. Probably my only skip. And I mean, listen, it comes down to those kind of amazing brother deliveries, that cowboy voice that we heard on Family Ties and Range Brothers.
It's a completely different
It's very
flow,
similar to that, I would say. In terms of his delivery and the way his voice is sounding.
I disagree.
Yeah, it sounds super similar,
It
without
does.
a doubt.
No,
and I think that, like, this is where he goes into his melodic bag more than anything else. And I don't know if that's really a strong suit, to be honest.
I completely disagree with you. I think that on Family Ties, if you listen to it, it's a lot more high voltage. This was more melodic in approach. And he used the word brother, but I mean, it doesn't necessarily sound anything like
I think it does sound a lot like Range Brothers.
So
in
where are you
particular.
putting this?
I would personally go with mid. What about you?
No, I'm not going mid with this. I would say great on it. But listen, okay, if you want to go mid, we'll
go in the middle with good.
We'll go in the middle with good with Rich Spirit. How about We Cry Together, Kendrick Lamar and Taylor Page? I think that, listen, I could consider this almost a perfect song as well, bro. This was on a different fucking level for me. So how about you? What are you saying?
Kendrick screaming 17 times over "fuck you" over a Griselda beat. You have my money right there. I love what Uncle Al did and what he brought production-wise, and this made it feel like it was more of a stage play rather than an actual song, but the acting performances, if you want to call them that, were really brilliant, and I love that he brought an actress like Taylor Page to play the part of the female, and it was great in the context of the album because it really shows what an abusive relationship looks like. So I thought it was brilliant. I'm good with either an amazing or a perfect. What do you want to go with? I'll leave it to you for this one.
Listen, in the context of the album, I think it was perfect. I do think it's on that perfect tier, especially for the way that it's going to go. Look, I'm such a big fan of the song. I really have gravitated towards it.
A lot of Kim inspired.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If Kendrick Lamar had to make a Kim or had to make like an Eminem-inspired song, this is what it would sound like. But Purple Hearts, featuring Summer Walker and Ghostface Killah. And what's interesting about the Ghostface Killah feature is that on the podcast, we were talking about Nas, we were talking about Andre 3000, we were talking about OGs making an appearance on this, and Ghostface Killah was the one that ended up making the track list. And honestly, I like the song. I think it's super enjoyable. I love Summer Walker's verse. Her voice is fucking fantastic and always gets me in my feels whenever I'm listening to it. Ghostface Killah too absolutely rips his verse. Kendrick does his thing too. I think it's a good song. I do think it's a good song in context of the album.
Yeah, I think it's a good song. I don't really like the melody that Kendrick went for when he's, singing, "Yeah, baby." Like, that whole thing I thought wasn't executed that well. Apart from that, like, it is a weird combination to have Summer Walker, Kendrick Lamar, and Ghostface Killah, but I thought that the transitions from one of their parts to the next were all smooth, and Ghostface Killah really executed. There's one line from Summer Walker where she talks about it's not real love unless you eat her ass. That was a bit out of pocket, to be honest with you, but apart from that, I can make it past that and accept the song for what it is. It's another one of those vibey tracks, and I think that it's a good song.
It's a good
Agreed?
song, absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. So let's get midway through the track list, all right? So this is where we start side B.
Yeah.
Count Me Out, one of the best songs on this whole
Oh my
fucking album, man.
goodness, bro.
What's your favorite part about this
My
song?
favorite part, it's definitely the background vocals from the choir, where you have this female who's singing, and I'm tripping and falling. Like, that was great juxtaposition with Kendrick's very heartfelt verses. So I thought that was genius. Apart from that, I also feel like Kendrick sounds like he's a wreck. Like, this is one of those songs where he really conveyed his emotions the way that he wanted to. And yeah, it was also cool to see how he said that he was struggling to even look in the mirror at certain points in his life. Like, that was really inspiring to listen to from someone who's at the stature that he's at, to be able to kind of just
Relate to that. Relate to that on a
and
different
kind of
level.
be self-critical of himself.
Absolutely, and I think that this is one of my favorite songs off the album, just off the jump, and I've been bumping it so much off the weekend that it released. So, what are you going with it, man? What are you saying, bro? Between amazing and perfect, where do you want to go with it?
Wow.
Where are you going with it, man?
I think perfect.
You think perfect for Count Me Out? Okay, we'll go perfect for Count Me Out. But let's go on to Crown. This sounds like a cut straight out of the recordings of Untitled and Mastered and Tip of a Butterfly. Like, this is the Kendrick Lamar that I love. Like, he's using this quirky flow and this different type of voice that's not present on the whole album, but it was one for this one track. And the whole point of Crown is him kind of saying, like, why do you guys look at me like this? Like, why do you guys put me on that pedestal when I'm really not supposed to be on that pedestal? Like, you guys can't, look at me in a perfect light all the time. And that's the message that I'd gotten throughout this song. And I love the piano keys on this. I think these are the best piano keys on the whole album.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the best piano-based compositions. And this song really grew on me, bro. I said on first listen, I wasn't vibing with it all that much. But the more I listened to it, I'm like, wow, this is really impactful, especially just the fact that he's taking off that crown, he's stepping on it and crushing it into 100 pieces and saying, like, I don't really need all of this pressure. I want this off of my shoulders. And yeah, very cathartic song. And I also love the high pitch inflections, reminding me of Andre 3000 at certain times.
Facts.
And yeah, I think it's a great fucking song. I would put it on that amazing level.
Yeah, I definitely think it goes into the amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe not on the level of Count Me Out, but that's very debatable. Like, all of these tracks are debatable because that's just what Kendrick Lamar does, right? But let's go on to Silent Hill. This Kodak feature was absolutely amazing. Like, I really fucked with his verse at the end of it, and I love the type of energy he comes through with. Like, Kodak is an underrated lyricist, and not a lot of people know it, because if you go back into his old projects, you realize how much emotion and how much substance he puts into his bars. And I think that out of that, what was it, the 2016 freshman class?
2016, was it?
I believe,
yeah,
yeah,
it was.
It was 2016.
Yeah, it was.
He's one of the most underrated lyricists out of that whole class, to be honest with you. And it's just perfect proof here. Like, to be able to even compete with Kendrick Lamar on the same song is an amazing feat. I don't think the verse is as good as Kendrick's, but I still do think that it's great.
I think I enjoy Kodak's part over
Yes, you did?
Kendrick's.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just think that Kendrick really dives into the Baby Keem bag here, and I think that it works. It's cool. It's lighthearted, and Kendrick definitely had a lot of fun with this one. But it's not distinctly his sound, in my opinion. But Kodak Black really impressed me, and I also love the production. You have like these sounds that sound like a laser gun clipping off, and then you also have just this hard hitting bass. Yeah, definitely one of the songs I could see becoming a bigger hit and maybe being featured on, let's say, major playlists and whatnot. So yeah, it was cool to see that Kodak and Kendrick on a song actually worked. I would go with great on this.
I would go great as well.
You agree?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're spot on with it. But Savior Interlude. All right, this is one of the more impressive performances for me on the album because Baby Keem rips this apart. And what was the song where he was talking about creating a full-fledged concept after the melodic blue? I believe it was it on Scapegoats last year?
It was on Scapegoat, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was, and this is perfect indication of what type of lyrical bag that Baby Keem could get in. Like, a lot of people think that Baby Keem is just, pure flow and pure vibe and, just known for his melodies and the way that he attacks certain things and his quirkiness, but this writing is fucking impressive. It evokes so much emotion, and you could tell he's Kendrick Lamar's cousin. Just the way he knits everything together and guides you in also has to play an important role within the track list, in my opinion, because let's say this verse didn't hit the way it did, right? And it wasn't meshed well in together in the grand scheme of the track list. You would have had a hole right in the middle of it. And I think that Baby Keem had a lot of pressure to deliver on this verse, and he absolutely did it. But where are you going with it? What do you want to say?
one of his most personal offerings yet, and it was cool to see him rap over this violin-based composition. That was really dope. And also his lines like the 1st and the 15th, the only religion, noodles in the microwave, Shark Tank tidal wave. He's really letting me in on this rough upbringing, excuse me, and with great imagery at that. So I think that It's a great song.
It's a great song.
What would you go
I'd
with?
go great as well. It's
Okay.
definitely a standout for me within the track list. But let's go Savior, all right? So this is a very impressive song. This is one of my favorites too off of the album. I'm going amazing actually off the jump. I think this would slot into the amazing.
Bro,
How about you?
I love Kendrick's tone at the start of the song because it reminds me of, like, you know, when you're watching, let's say, a movie on TV and you get that warning screen, you know, viewer discretion is advised. Like
Yeah.
that professional sounding voice. I feel like Kendrick uses that when he says, J. Cole empowers you, but he is not your savior. Like, it was just cool to see him, you know, try out that experimental tone. I thought it worked really well. And the beat switch is also dope. When he's like rapping, Venaki, c'est la vie, like the energy just shifts and you're vibing along. I thought it was great. And of course, the message of the song that we shouldn't look up to only one person for guidance and to really dictate the direction that our own lives are headed in. I thought that was genius and super poignant, to be honest. So I would go with amazing on this one. What about you?
Yeah, I think it definitely slots into the
Verge
amazing
even
range.
on perfect.
Yeah, you could make the argument for perfect, but I think that as a song, like it's definitely a standout for me. And I love the replay value of this as well because it's super deep. It's like a super emotional, I would say, song as far as like the track list goes. But I could play this in the whip as well. Like I was playing it, you know, at my cousin's crib, you know, and we're going over and we're just listening to her like, fuck, you know, you go over this song again and again and again, and it just gets better with each and every single time you play it. So therefore, I do think it's amazing. But let's go on to AUNTIE Diaries. This is a super emotional song as well. This is where you find Kendrick diving into his storytelling bag. You know, he's talking about taboo subjects in society like transphobia, you know, and a bunch of different stuff in here. And this is the Kendrick that a lot of people love because he's not afraid to tackle these types of subjects on an album. And I think that this was super well executed in the scheme of the album. So where do you feel as if this places?
I'll be honest with you. I'll say this. I think that message-wise, it is so powerful and so necessary. I love that he's, you know, telling the story about two transgender people in his family. It was brilliantly executed from a writer standpoint, but this is a situation where I would have rather read this than heard it musically because I feel like no matter how great a message is in a song, if it's not going to move me at all, you know, rhythmically or have good harmony in terms of performance and production, I don't know if it was totally there. So I feel like as a song, I don't really enjoy it. But again, lyrically and in terms of what it provides in terms of, you know, conceptually for the project, it was necessary, but I wasn't moved by this musically.
You see, I disagree because I was playing it in the car the other day and I was doing it over my notes for the listening for the review. And I do think that it's actually one of the best songs written wise, as you just said. But I found myself getting into it slowly because it's a hard song to digest. You know, it's a really hard song. It's not that accessible. But I think that when you have to look at the writing, it's one of the best written songs on this whole track list, to be honest with you. So I would go personally amazing on it, bro. As far as the writing goes, I think
as a song, I think as the writing goes, like if this was just a written up passage, I'd go fucking perfect. But I think musically as a song, it was good or great. Like it really didn't impress me that much as a song.
Okay, so
What do you want to go with?
listen, if you had to ask me, I'll go amazing, but I'll go down for you. We'll go down to great. But let's go on to Mr. Morale. It's my favorite song on the album, man. I have to say.
Number one for you, yeah?
Yeah, this is my number one song on the album. I love when Kendrick gets into this vicious vibe. And the first verse on this song is probably my favorite verse on the whole album, to be honest with you. And what Pharrell and Beach Noise provided here was absolutely mesmerizing. And I love the 808 pattern. I love how there's a skip every time, you know, a chorus comes through or there's a certain verse that transitions. I also love the synths from the Stranger Things. Like, you know, that was fucking awesome as well. The vocal sample in back, like the way that it extends at certain parts in the production, and then like I'm not sure who did it in the producing cast, but then like they have little like doses of it as Kendrick continues his verses was genius as well. And just a song that has so much accessibility for me. Like it's been my most played song on the album. I want to go perfect for it, bro.
Yeah,
It's a perfect K-Dot song.
I think that it was phenomenal. I like the fact that he's groaning a lot. Again, it plays into that idea that he's a stage performer on this album. And also the way that he kind of channels this energy through that groaning and all those, you know, kind of sounds and loud noises he's making, you can tell that he's losing his fucking mind on that track as he's trying to battle his demons, I would say. So is it perfect? Yeah, I would say so. I could even slot it into amazing, but I'll boost it up to perfect for you because production-wise, too, outstanding.
Oh, it's an outstanding track. But let's go to Mother I Sober. Probably the most heartfelt track on this whole album because Kendrick is tackling a lot of deep subject matter that not only resonates with him, but within a lot of people. And, you know, he talks about how his mother was abused and how that same energy was reciprocated within his life as well because, you know, he was unfaithful with his wife and how that may have been karma in the grand scheme of things. And just just the writing to be able to make that all come through together on a track is super impressive. It's also difficult for that, to be able to click with a mainstream listener, because keep in mind, a lot of the writing is very niche, and it's very, it's
I wouldn't
very
say
deep.
it's that niche. I think it's relatable to a lot of people.
No, but I say it's niche in the way that it's written and how complex it is. But what I'm saying is that he makes it connect with a mainstream audience because he's Kendrick Lamar. He's one of the best lyricists out right now, if not the best.
You feel like this is the Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst of the album, in the sense of just being a masterclass in storytelling and writing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely the best.
And it also has that similar length. I think it runs about the 7-minute mark. And I think this is the climax of the album where Kendrick's really revealing the most. And this is where he's finally overcome all of this self-hatred, and he's able to really redeem himself in a sense, because as Whitney says, he breaks that generational curse by acknowledging and talking about this trauma, which I think a lot of people don't do. And I think that's why it's very inspirational. I think that it can get the conversation moving for a lot of people that need to address these situations. So I thought it was the most therapeutic moment for Kendrick on the entire album, and also the moment when his daughter's speaking. I thought that was a nice little moment that pulls on your heartstrings a little bit. So yeah, phenomenal song. I think it's perfect.
Absolutely. I think it's one of the best written songs in the whole album. Like, you need these types of songs within a Kendrick Lamar track list, and it's the songs that defy the album too. Like, define the album, not define. It's just, it allows you to understand what type of headspace he's in, and that's why I enjoyed it so much. But let's go on to Miro, right? Outro of the album. How did you feel about it? And do you think it lives up to his other outros? Example, like, let's talk about Mortal Man, right? Like, does it really
Mortal Man, Duckworth, he has some phenomenal outros. I don't think it's on that level, I'll be honest with you, but I do like, what it represents for the project. And it's interesting how Kendrick, says, I chose myself. All these years I could have been out touring, putting out music, but I was out there, building my own life with my family and focusing on myself. So it's cool to see him acknowledge that. Apart from that, it sounds like a very liberating song. It sounds like absolutely. Kendrick is sort of breaking off the shackles, and there is that relaxing energy to the track. He finally sounds like he's at peace. And for that, I think that it is very impactful. But again, not one of his strongest outros. Still really solid, though. I'd go with great on this.
I'd go with great as well. Yeah, it was a solid effort, and I love the bridge at the end. I realize true love's not saving face, but unconditional. When will you let me go? I trust you'll find independence. So just always a masterclass as far as messaging goes within all of these tracks. But listen, guys, let us know what you think about our rankings. Let us know where we fucked up. Let us know where we got it right. And what would your rankings be for each of these songs? Let me know in the comment section, guys. So thank you so much for coming through on this video. And honestly, as I've been saying on all of our K-Dot videos, thank you from the whole NFR team for coming through on this Kendrick Lamar rollout. It's been a massive moment for us this year. And guys, we're making a lot of new content on the channel. So if you are new here, hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching this, and we'll catch you in the next one.